Hi everyone, I'm Sophie. In my last video, I shared how the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey helped me to become debt-free. I followed his 7 baby steps. Yes, it took many years, but eventually I got to where I wanted to be. There were a couple of things in the book that I didn't completely follow, so in this video, I want to talk about those 2 things. They are the envelope system and credit cards. Let's start with the envelope system. So the idea is pretty simple. You have these envelopes for different budget categories like groceries, gas, eating out, and you put cash in the envelope for each category. Then you only use the cash in the envelopes and the money is gone, then that's it. You stop spending. I think it's a great system to stay disciplined, and I can understand the psychology behind it. So say at a grocery store, you know you have to pay for your groceries with the cash in the envelope. So actual cash out of the envelope, and you see the cash disappearing, and yeah, you might think twice to buy what or what not. So I actually tried the envelope system in the beginning for several months. You know, you can just use regular letter envelopes if you have them at home. And I believe on Dave Ramsey's website, you can get those envelopes. And even I think I saw something similar at Amazon. But anyway, back then, I used just a regular envelopes. I put groceries, gas, maybe vacation fund, etc., etc. I would go to the bank, get the cash, and then put it in each envelope. But after practicing it for several months, I kind of found cumbersome. First of all, I have to physically go to the bank to get the cash. Then I put them in the envelope, and whenever I go to grocery store or take my car for gas, I have to take those envelopes. So after several months of trial, I decided it's not working for me. Instead, I started using Excel. I tracked my expenses there. I actually had my budget on Excel. I maintained and reviewed it every single week so that I knew where I was at on spending and whatnot. And that worked for me just fine. If you are familiar with this envelope system, have you tried it? How did it work out? I'm so curious. So if you have tried, please share your experience in the comments. Okay, now let's talk about credit cards. So, along with this envelope system, since you are using only cash in the envelope, you're not supposed to use credit cards. And Dave Ramsey is well known to be very firm about this. He's literally anti-credit cards. He believes the credit cards are the biggest traps that keep people in debt. And even if you think you're a responsible person, things happen, life happens, oops, we carry the balance instead of paying off fully. So then we get this, 25% of interest on the balance we didn't pay off. A lot of people, including myself, say, oh, I use credit cards for points, cash back, and But he says, yeah, that sounds good, but that system is also designed for the credit card companies, not you. Honestly, I totally get that. Say today I'm buying a grocery using my credit card. I'm actually borrowing that money to pay my groceries today, and I pay it back later, right? See, credit cards have billing cycles, right? So say, and it's not even the 1st through 30th or anything like that. It's always in the middle of the month, right? So let's say 10th. So, you use credit cards from 11th through the next month, 10th. And then you use credit cards to pay groceries, gas, and whatever. And then they close the billing cycle. And then they say, okay, you have 3 weeks or 4 weeks to pay this off, by this date. Often we proudly say, oh, I pay my credit cards off every single month. Yeah, but actually I borrowed money first, right? And then I'm paying back later. So here I am saying, oh, I'm completely debt free. But as long as I'm using my credit cards to buy stuff, I'm actually in debt, at least for a month, right? So I totally get it. I totally get his point. But boy, the cashback and points, it's not easy to let go. So yes, I continued using credit cards even during, my debt-free journey. And even now I use them. I actually use 2 credit cards for different purposes. But what I've been doing, before, if I did pay it off, when I had to pay it off, every month, now what I do is I don't even wait for that due date. I use my credit cards, and then the end of the month, I paid it off for whatever the balance is. It wasn't easy. I don't know if it's a psychological thing or we're just used to this credit card system so long. It wasn't too easy to switch that behavior. It took me a long time, but eventually I got it. So it's been a while now. I'm paying off as soon as I use my credit cards rather than carrying the balance and wait until the due date to pay them back. I guess we have to kind of retrain our brain and everything. Yeah, this credit card thing is really tough, right? I'm sure a lot of you can relate. When I was younger, 20s and even early 30s, I would use credit cards to buy clothes or go out, eat with friends and whatever, and then pay minimum every month so that I would carry this balance. And before I know it, it's a lot. I'm like, oh, shoot. And I look for another credit card that offers like 0% interest for balance transfer for 12 months or something. And I would open it and then I would balance transfer to that new card. And then, okay, I'm not gonna spend more money until I pay this off. And so I try to do it. And then before I know it, I'm again using this card because it's so clean now, 0 balance. Meanwhile, this goes in and then all of a sudden, like, ooh, it's been almost the 11th month. Oh, shit. And then, you open a third card, you look for a third card and then balance transfer this one and this one this time, I'm sure I was not the only one. And what woke me up and changed my whole attitude about this balance transfer? Okay, so, they said, 0% interest for 12 months on the balance transfer. All right, so if you do paid it all off within that 12 months, you're okay. Indeed, you are not paying any interest on that balance. But by any chance you didn't get to pay it all off within that 12 months, then 13th month, you know what happened? They back charged the interest rate for the past 12 months on this balance. So I had that. Happened to me. I let that happen to me. I didn't pay it all off. And I thought, okay, well, I have this much left. I'm going to pay it off within, next 3 months or so. And, interest rate applied. I'm fine. I'll do that. It's a consequence I need to be responsible for. But then when I saw the statement, almost they charged me the interest amount that was almost the same as the balance left there. So I called them and what the heck? What happened? Why are you doing this? Well, that was an education. That was a lesson I learned. Well, that person very kindly, patiently explained to me what happened. And I'm sure they said it all on that fine print somewhere that nobody actually reads, right? So I think I literally cried because what? Yeah, so Actually, when I learned that, I never balance transferred, ever. So if you didn't know about it, you might want to check all that before you balance transfer to another card or whatever, if you have to. If you can avoid that situation, that's better. But if you have to, please be mindful about that. You know, it was a long time ago, but I doubt it changed. Okay, so those are the two things in the book that I didn't follow completely, but I followed and stuck with the principle to become debt-free, guided by that book. If you successfully got out of debt like me, congratulations. And if you are on your journey to become debt-free, good luck, and I cheer for you. And don't give up. The day will come. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.
If you liked this video, please check out other videos in my channel. And if you like my channel, please subscribe.